Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Get the Shot, brought to you by Tamron Australia. My name is Joe and I'm your host, and today I have Cass Edwards. Cass is from Perth/Boolaroo. Did I get that right?
Yeah, Brawler, that's good.
Fantastic. She is a prolific and fantastic sport photographer and music photographer. She's worked with the AFL, NRL, State of Origin. She's now picked up with Perth Thunder, which is ice hockey. I didn't actually realize we had an ice hockey league in Australia, I'm super excited to dive into and get into that. Cassandra, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's very exciting to be here. This is actually my first podcast that I'm doing, so excited.
I wanted to ask straight off the bat, with your niches being music and sport, would you say performance is the word that captures all of it?
Yeah, I think it is. I often think that like both athletes and musicians are both very, very similar to capture. You're kind of like, you're going in not really knowing what it's going to look like, and they're just people that are out there like giving their absolute everything, and I get to kind of just capture their performance. I think performance is a good word for it, yeah.
When you're at a gig or a sporting event, what are your sort of priorities? Are you trying to capture the anticipation of a movement? Are you trying to capture the atmosphere? Are you trying to capture like the moment something great happens? What's your sort of approach to all of that?
I mean, I think kind of all of what you just said is pretty accurate. You're definitely anticipating things. I think depending on the kind of musician they are or what kind of sport you're shooting, you kind of have an idea of what the big moments are and the moments that are going to get like good reactions from the crowd, just really dynamic kind of shots. So, you know, in sports, it's always like if there's a massive goal, you're kind of capturing the goal, the celebration, but then you're also capturing the crowd's reaction to it. So it's kind of like action and reaction. They're kind of the two things in both, like, you know, both sports and music that if you can get both of those, then like you're going to get some cool shots.
I've noticed with some of your photos, it's not just like athletes with the ball per se or going for whatever they're going for. There's actually quite a few of athletes either looking around or they're really focused or whatever it may be. And so your eyes, I'm sure, are wandering the pitch up and down trying to find moments like this. Have you ever missed moments because you found a little story somewhere else on the field?
I mean, constantly. I've missed moments constantly. You know, you can't get 100% of them. But I think something like ice hockey is a really good example of just moments happening all the time. Because, you know, you can have someone with the puck who's about to shoot, but then at the same time you have defensemen in front of the net kind of battling against each other. You have people setting up for passes. So I think ice hockey is one of those sports where you never run out of things to shoot. There is always something happening, and because ice hockey doesn't have too many breaks, you could easily shoot like 6,000 photos in a game and then stay up until 2 a.m. editing them.
Goodness me. So do you edit straight away after a game?
Sometimes, yeah, it depends because it depends on the requirements. So sometimes if it's a really big event, they often want the photos during the game and then after as well. But I think for me, just because I really like to go through photos, especially if I've kind of clocked while I'm shooting that I've got a shot, I'll go home straight away and be like, all right, where is it? Make sure I got it. And then it's like I can rest easy knowing I've got photos and that I've put some things out there.
Do you spend a lot of time in post? Because I'm sure with sport photography in particular, you've got really long lenses and people are so far away. You're probably capturing a little bit wide just to make sure you've got everything there and cropping in. But do you spend a lot of time in post?
It depends. Like different sports require different types of editing. So something like AFL or NRL, especially if it's in the day or if the stadium has really good lighting, you really don't need to spend that much time. It's kind of, you know, maybe cropping in if you haven't already gotten the frame, you know, when you shot, or it's just making kind of minor adjustments. Whereas something like ice hockey takes a little bit longer, mostly because the nature of the sport is that you have to be shooting at a really high shutter speed, and like the rinks are usually pretty dark, so you're shooting at a really high ISO as well. You're sometimes underexposing to try and balance it all out. So I find that my editing in ice hockey is takes a lot longer because I'm kind of having to do more work to make it look nice. Yeah, whereas if you're shooting in the daylight, you're pretty sweet. The shot looks almost exactly like you did in camera.
How did you get involved with ice hockey? I know it's your sort of your big focus at the moment, but tell me how you got involved there.
So I play it myself. I actually did roller derby for like 10 years. So I've been skating kind of my whole life almost. I switched over to roller hockey, switched over to ice hockey. And then once I'd kind of landed in ice hockey and I was playing that, I was just like, I love this sport so much. And I was already a photographer. So one of my friends was kind of just like, hey, you should probably shoot some ice hockey, right? And I was like, well, yeah, I guess that makes sense. So I went
Yeah.
down and shot one game and I was just like hooked. I think I got a photo of like the ice spray when someone stops, and I was just like, man, that's really, really cool. So I just started volunteering at one of the local leagues, going down every single week, trying to learn how to shoot, trying to figure out again like what the moments are, what cool shots are. Yeah, and then it kind of just progressed from there.
Do you work internally with Perth Thunder, or are you still sort of a contract freelancer type with them?
Yeah, so I also run their media. So I do their social media, and then I am also I'm actually contracted with the league. So I'm an Australian Ice Hockey League photographer, but obviously based in Perth. So yeah, yeah, that's kind of how it works.
How do you like, because this has been my career as a videographer as well. There's been times where I've been doing freelancing with like a company and I see them once or twice a month. But then there's times where I'm doing like 2, 3 days a week with a company as
Mhm.
well. Do you prefer being tied down and with a company or an organization, or do you sort of prefer freelancing here and there?
So, yeah, it's a good question because while I love the work that I do with Perth Thunder, and out of everyone that I work with, like a bulk of my time goes to them, but I also love the kind of freedom that comes with freelancing and I guess all of the different sports that I get to shoot, all the different kinds of acts. Like I have so much variety in my week, and I think I would really struggle if I was doing kind of the same thing every week. So variety for me is always like that's what keeps me going. Anytime I've kind of had an office job in the past, I've gotten pretty bad at it pretty quick. So I would just I'd start fading like after a year.
Yeah, my most exciting part of the day is doing this stuff. I've spent the rest of my day at my desk and I've been anticipating this for a while, so
Yeah,
I have a similar mindset to you there.
yeah.
In addition to being a really great sports and music photographer, you're also quite a bit of a TikToker. Um, how did that come about?
I don't know. I think I was just when I was learning photography, or honestly, any time I've learnt a skill, I usually learn it from either TikTok or YouTube. And so I consume a lot of that content. And I guess for me, being in the space of like female Aboriginal photographer working in ice hockey, like that is such a small niche. So I kind of, I guess I saw a space where I'm like, I could be creating stuff in this space because I think it would be cool. Like, especially the ice hockey photography, I was looking for content, being like, what does game day look like? What are we shooting? What's cool? And I didn't find a lot of it on there. And so I was like, maybe if I make it, it'll be helpful for someone else. And I think as soon as I started posting, I realized that, there was a huge, hunger for that kind of content. So, yeah, I like found success in that space fairly quickly. And what's really cool about it is like, I feel like I've built a community really quickly there as well. So I think most of the people that follow me on TikTok are other female photographers, a lot of people in the ice hockey space. Yeah, and so yeah, that's yeah. Did that answer the
No,
question?
absolutely. That was really
Okay.
interesting. I find it really amazing that you're pursuing this, I was going to say side hobby, but it's sort of part of your career as a whole.
Yeah.
Because I would shoot video, I would come back, I'd edit, maybe not the same night as you and wait till 2 a.m. I'd wait a day or so to
Yeah.
add some distance. As part of my artistic pursuit, I
Of
need a little bit of
course. Yeah, you
distance.
gotta let it rest.
Yeah. um, how do you manage to maintain that? Because I would shoot Monday to Friday, and then I would go, all right, we've got me time to do Joe content over the weekend or whatever it may be. And I
Mhm.
would just burn out just sitting behind DaVinci all week.
Yeah.
So how do you balance all of that, working with your clients and then working for yourself on TikTok?
I think that's a really good question, and I'm probably not in the best position to answer that because I do burn out. I am quite actively at the moment working on how to do work-life balance. So I've been self-employed and doing this kind of full time for 2.5 years now. And I just love my job so much. It's actually really hard for me to break away from it, which I will never complain about that. I realize that I'm very fortunate and lucky to be able to say that, but I do really struggle. I honestly kind of do this roller coaster where I do heaps of work, really exciting stuff, and then I kind of crash and then it goes up and back. So at the moment, I'm very fortunate that I have a partner that is really good at being like, hey, we're going to go on a little weekend getaway this weekend. Hey, we're going to go for a walk. And then he'll be like, hey, how long have you been sitting at your computer today? I'll be like, oh, like 8 hours. He's like, sweet, let's go outside. Let's look at some plants. Yeah, I think he's a huge part of why I'm able to kind of maintain it. He's very good at pulling me away. Um, and I think just understanding a little bit of how honestly how kind of like my brain and my body reacts to doing a lot of work. So what I found is that after a really exciting event, so just say like something like State of Origin, my like excitement leading up to State of Origin was just like intense for months. And then it comes to the night, the stadium is packed. Like it is like the most exciting thing that I've ever done in my life. And then the next day, I kind of just sit there and I'm like, whew. And it's almost like a come down from like just this kind of excitement and really intense happiness.
Yeah.
And then the next day, I'd just be sitting there and being like, oh, why am I so sad right now? And then it kind of took a little while to realize that I'm actually like coming down from, I don't know, dopamine or like some kind of
Yeah,
intense
yeah.
happiness drug. I've kind of worked out systems to kind of be a little bit gentler with myself, kind of the days following these really exciting things, which is, it's so strange because it's not something that I'd considered, you know, something that I'd have to consider. I didn't know that this was something that would kind of keep happening to me, but then I started seeing patterns and I was like, okay, I need to actually have plans in place and I need to recognize burnout and kind of the opposite of burnout. I need to recognize those really like high moments of euphoria and the come down that come with it. So, yeah, I'm actively working on it. But it is like, it's tough. I think working in the creative industry is like quite hard mentally, um, especially when you're just putting yourself out there constantly
Yeah.
all the time. Like, I even get social media burnout. Like, I'll post a bunch of stuff and like I always get, pretty positive reactions from it. But sometimes I'm just like, I just want to hide my face for a little while. I might just like ghost social media for a month and then come back.
I want to commend you first of all for being 2.5 years self-employed as a photographer. It's a really, really tough gig out there. So
Thank you.
congratulations for pulling that off.
Thank you.
And the identifiers of burnout is really cool that you've managed to find your own signals and all that sort of stuff.
Mm,
I actually hadn't really considered the whole identify when you're experiencing a high as well, because you have to
yeah.
know when you're on the top of the roller coaster and at the bottom because
Yeah.
they're equally as important.
Yeah.
So that's super insightful. For me, I was just sort of go go go, and I wouldn't just crash out. I would just like I'd be gone for quite a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What's something that you haven't shot that you'd like to shoot?
This shouldn't be a hard question. Um, what's exciting me at the moment? Okay. Oh, I don't, actually no, because the stuff that's exciting me, I don't know if I can talk about it yet.
Oh no,
Um,
okay, that's fine, that's fine.
Let me answer your first question. What's something that I'd like to shoot? Okay, actually no, that's a no-brainer. Like something. I mean, uh, I'm going to talk around this, but we'll get to the answer.
Okay, don't worry. Take your
So,
time.
so I think this year has been, I don't know, I guess maybe like this year's been pretty eye-opening in that I have done things this year that weren't necessarily in my plan. And it's because I didn't know that I was going to have the opportunities that I had this year. So this year I've had to do a lot of kind of like goal switching and figuring out, okay, well, now that I know that I'm able to do this, like what's next? And so that has actually been a huge question for me is like, what's next? Um, And so I think for me, like being able to just keep shooting, some of these bigger sports consistently is something that I want to be able to do. Which, to be fair, if you're not actually affiliated with like a league or a photo production company, is quite hard. I'm lucky that I've gotten the opportunities that I've gotten this year because it's been purely through other freelance, or I've had friends who have also been shooting it that have asked if I wanted to go and shoot with them. So that's been really cool. So I think for me, like, I guess in a couple of years, if I can be in a space where I'm getting invited to shoot come like some of the big things, I think that's what would be really exciting. So things like, Australian Open, the Olympics, yeah, kind of anything within that arena, I think is what I'm starting to set my goals at, which is like honestly kind of scary because again, I hadn't planned for any of the kinds of things I was shooting this year. So to put those kinds of things into my goal list seems a little bit um, daunting, but kind of exciting that I'm even in space to be able to put those things on the list. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're from the Australian Open or the Olympics, please follow up with Cass. She's a gun. She'll be fantastic and get some great photos.
Thank you.
So, if your goals, we know your goals now. What were your goals then? Like when you first
Oh,
got into this?
honestly, it was just kind of survival mode. I think the first year of self-employment, it was just make sure that I'm putting myself out there, getting jobs and paying rent essentially.
Yeah.
Um, and so like I mean I've done photography, I've done video, I've done all these things in the creative um field for a really long time through full-time and like through employment. But yeah, kind of in the last 2.5 years, just being on my own, having nothing to kind of fall back on either. I just honestly just worked my butt off my first year. I don't think I took a day off. I just spent all of my time like networking, working, portfolios, just everything. And I think um I think for me, I was really lucky in just the people that I'd met along the way, um, which sounds very like Wizard of Oz. Like, and you were there.
No, that's all right.
Um, but I think the people that kind of advocated for me and supported me during my first year is such a huge reason as to why I've been able to stay self employed and have success and kind of keep building on it. Um, so yeah, honestly, the goal before this year was to just stay afloat and make sure that I was, doing the right things to keep building my business. So I mean that is still the goal, but it's just yeah, it's kind of cool. I've got these other little side quests of shooting big sports and big music things to kind of do along the way.
Fantastic. Networking has been really important in every career all the
Yeah.
time. Do you have a piece of networking advice, especially if you're in a creative field trying to get your name out there?
Yeah, I think just I think it's just build community. When I first started, I was actually really scared of having other photographer friends because I was worried that they would look at my work and be like, "Oh, she doesn't actually know what she's doing," which I think like a lot of photographers think that about themselves, and it actually surprises me to hear a lot of my friends who I think are amazing are also like, "Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing." But so I think like the biggest piece of advice is like don't be afraid to like create community. So that means like follow the photographers in your city, follow the photographers who are doing the same thing. Don't be scared to reach out and ask some questions. Yeah, I think a lot of the friends that I have now in the photography community, I honestly think I probably just messaged them one day or I responded to a video they'd put up or um yeah, just kind of straight. I was like, "Hey, I'm Cass. I'm doing this," and then just asked questions or just introduced myself. The amount of opportunities that I've gotten from just cold emailing as well, just being like, "Hey, this is me. This is who I am. This is what I'd like to do." Yeah, I've had quite a lot of success in that space, but I think it's like a quantity thing. For every like 50 emails I sent out, I probably got two back that were positive and got me an opportunity.
So it's a persistence thing. I've done the cold call and email thing too, and oh
Yeah.
my goodness, it's a bit draining, but yeah.
I know, but I think it's like I've passed the point where I'm like, it makes me nervous anymore because it's more like if they say no, that's fine. I move on with my life. But if they say yes, I get to do something really cool.
I wanted to ask one quick thing. As I
Mhm.
was scrolling through your TikTok, I noticed that you've got your partner likes Pokemon cards. How's that addiction going on? Is it
um,
tough dating an addict?
it's actually so funny. I had to clear the space behind me before because it's just a table full of Pokemon cards. It's not tough. It's like I love that he loved like he's so into
Yeah.
yeah, no, I fully support his addiction. Like of all the
Oh,
things to
that's
be
good.
addicted to,
Yeah.
like Pokemon cards is like so wholesome. Sometimes if I'm working and he can see that I've again been here for too long, he'll just come and place like a stack of cards in like packets in front of me, and he's just like, "When you're ready, you can open them."
That's a good way to fix a burnout, Pokemon cards. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Cass, I've had a lovely time chatting to you. I've had a lovely time getting to know you a little bit more. And if you're ever in Melbourne, contact us. Would be love to show you through our space in our studio.
Yeah, cool.
Um, and it's just been an absolute blast. Keep going.
Yeah.
You're going to be Australia's number one sport photographer in no time.
It's very nice. Thank you so much for having me. That was really fun.
No worries. All right. Thank you, everyone. Take care.